we have one last performer this night. A stand-up that I had the pleasure of meeting just a few minutes ago, and I have heard wonderful things from others about this performer. Please welcome to the stage, Nick Piontek.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. The first thing I'd like to do is I'd like you guys to clap your hands really loud for everybody who makes this thing work. I'm not getting paid, so I'm assuming they're not getting paid. So how many, I can't, and normally I'm used to the stage lights, but how many fucking people are here? What do we got, like 5? Okay, so instead of, Kruger's seen all my jokes, so instead what I'd like to do is open this up, and maybe I'll be a little bit more intimate tonight. I started comedy 11 to 14 years ago, depending on if you count Corona and sadness. And just if you don't quit comedy 3 different times, you're not doing comedy. You're not a comedian. All right, I'm a big fucking dude, and I have been threatened to be murdered 5 different times, all in South Dakota, weirdly enough. In some weird town where they're paying me really good, and I pissed off the local rednecks, and there's one motel within 36 miles, and they know exactly what car I'm driving, and they all have guns. But a story that I very rarely tell, and I don't tell it on stage, but I'll tell it to you guys because it's just us here. I started comedy, I was a bouncer at a strip club. Yeah, that's its own story, but I don't even really, they used to intro me as the strip club guy, so I don't really tell the strip club stories anymore. But on a really, really slow night on 2nd and Washington, the strip club that I worked for was called Sinners, and it was owned by Sex World. It was owned by the original creator of Sex World, Big D, rest in peace. Hairiest eyebrows, best health insurance I've ever had. I've worked for 3 Fortune 500 companies, and Sex World gave me the best health insurance. Isn't that weird? But then for Christmas, you got $100 gift certificates, and you couldn't use it for any of the weed shit, which was all of our shit. So I just got sex swings for every girlfriend that I had. Weird thing, if any of you have never owned a sex swing, every girl gets really horny looking at it. None of them want to be fucked in it if they know there's another girl who got, so you always have to get a new one. They're like diapers. You always have to get a new one. But I was doing security at Sex World, and me and my boss Ryan, one of the greatest people you'll ever meet, one of my good friends, it was a super slow night. Like, there must have been concerts in St. Paul, but like 2nd and Washington, which is normally super busy, was just dead. And these dudes came in, and they weren't tipping. And I was doing security, I was DJing, I hadn't smoked enough weed, so I was all pissed off. And believe it or not, you can get a job where naked women give you money, and you will complain about it. All right? And if you don't think that's possible, work with 22 women who get naked and make cash, and see how fucked up your day can get, because they unionize and it gets bad. But these dudes came in, and they weren't tipping on the tip rail, and I'm doing like 3 jobs at the time, and it was pissing me off, and all of a sudden, every girl at the club came out and was hanging out with these guys, and they hadn't spent $1. And then one of the girls went downstairs, which is where the VIP was. That's where the big money is. And this dude handed me a real black card. If you know what a black card is, it's a different material. And you could run that motherfucker for $30 million and it'll approve. It's a black card. It's what they give the Illuminati. And so there's no name on it, though. There's just an account number. And it's like metal. It's a different, the original American Express black card. Now they have like imitators, but anyway. And so I didn't see the name. And he got 3 girls for the 3 rooms we had at Sinners, and that's like $8,000 for an hour. And so I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And I can recognize his face, but I'm the head of security, so if I recognize your face, it usually means you jerked off somewhere, and I had to throw you the fuck out after that. because that's the way my mind operated at the time, right? Like, I was that as security. We like literally were like, who jerked off on the carpet and who are we kicking out, right? And so I brought him downstairs, and we're going down the elevator. Sinners now it's a boutique store on 2nd and Washington, which I want to go in there and be like, do you know how much cum is still, like, I don't know how much you cleaned, but it's in the wood. It's beating the asbestos. The asbestos is a cuckold in this building situation. Okay? The asbestos is like, this is dirty, you know? So, but I brought him downstairs, and I'm looking at this guy, and the whole time I'm fucking pissed off, and I'm like, this guy did some fucked up shit, and he's got money, so he did real fucked up shit. Like, he like came on my ankle or something, and I just don't remember it because that's like a Tuesday. And then I went downstairs, and I heard Cartman from South Park's voice coming out of the VIP, and it was Trey Parker from South Park. And I'm like, that's where I know that guy. And we had celebrities come in, but I love The Simpsons the most, but I love South Park, how they kind of keep pissing everybody off. And Runyon's, if you guys know Runyon's, is on the corner, and we didn't serve alcohol, so we would send our customers to Runyon's, and then they would give me free alcohol, and then I could deal with 22 pissed off women every night. That was pretty much how I dealt with life from 25 to 31. But they went down to Runyon's because we didn't have alcohol, and it was dead. And I told my boss, I was like, I'm gonna go down there. And he goes, don't go kiss their ass. I'm like, dude, that's not me. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the bar, and I'm gonna completely ignore them, like I would do to a pretty girl that I wanna fuck, right? And I did that, and it was just us and Runyon's is always fucking packed, even back then. And I just ignored them, and it was just them at the table, and it was Trey Parker, it wasn't Matt Stone, but it was a dude they called Butters and yelled at like Butters. It was the real life Butters. And I just ignored him, and Trey Parker went, hey man, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but if you come over here and tell me what your life is like to fucking be a bouncer at a strip club, I'll buy all your alcohol all night. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be working, but that means we got like an hour and a half, 2 hours. It's a strip club. There's not a lot of rules. And I was like, we could make this like 3 or 4 hours if my boss can come down. And he's like, bring your boss down. And I'm gonna tell you a real quick story. So he's literally looming over me going, how many dicks? You know what? Most people that hear you worked at a strip club, they go, man, you must have fucked the hottest chicks. Yeah, and I talked to a therapist about it every time. The second girl I ever truly loved in this world had cum dumpster tattooed on her bottom lip. And I love that girl. I still think about her every day and hope she's doing good. And I don't judge. You guys just got on this liberal agenda of not slut inspecting. I literally fell in love with those bitches like 20 years ago, or 10 years ago. I don't mean to say bit, but you get what I'm saying. Anyway, so Trey Parker's asking me my favorite episodes of South Park, and I actually like South Park, so I have some deep episodes. And I told him, I was like, because I'm a strip club bouncer, I have to say the little Crime Stoppers, because it's a strip club. That they go in, the kids go in, and the DJ goes, "That's shooting, killing going on in here. Remember to teach your DJ, or remember to tip your dancer, Laquanda." And I did the voice for him, and he was just like crying, laughing. And then the bartender of Runyon's came up, and he goes, you could tell like the bartender wanted to interject himself in the conversation, and he just didn't find the right moment. And he found that moment, and he goes, you know what I really like? Basketball. And Trey Parker turned to him and he went, I fucking hate that movie. I did it as a favor. And like turned back to me. And you watched him, like you watched the bartender just go. He just Charlie Browned away, and I was like, 5 more shots on the black card. Just for me, I'm putting them in my pocket. I have a glass in my pocket. I'm just fucking pouring them in. But the long story short is I spent about 2 hours with Trey Parker. And the last thing he said when he walked out the door is he went, Nick, you are a funny motherfucker. And he walked out the door. And my boss looked at me and he said, Nick, you need to start doing comedy. And the very next day I did my first open mic. And that's how I started fucking comedy. I have the best origin story of any comic. 99% of comic stories is like I did cocaine, stayed up all night, and did an open mic. And now I'm here. And so I just want to share that with you guys since you stayed here, and it seems like you're most are worker bees and just hanging out. That's like a personal story for me that I don't really tell a lot. I'll do some jokes. I'm happy to be back. You guys made me wear a mask. I haven't worn a mask in a while. I got Corona twice. I coached Little League right when fucking Corona ended. And it was in Elk River where I was about to get into a gunfight with some rednecks if I made those kids wear masks. So instead I just was like, fuck it. And I'm vaccinated, and I went on a million trips, and I do comedy, and I coach fucking kids who are the most disease-ridden little pieces of shit. I literally watch them, I go, pfft. And I don't give a fuck, I love kids. I'm like, what's up, dude? I grabbed my nuts before this happened, so it's all weird. Yeah, my dick sucked before I came to coach. There's like probably a little, I hope it's toothpaste. Anyway. But I coach Little League, and it's like one of my favorite things to do in this world. It's like my way to give back, try to be a good human being. And one of the things that disturbed me about coaching Little League was the background check. They are really, really, really desperate for positive adult role models right now. They'll just take anybody, including this guy. Like, Hennepin County wouldn't approve me for a driving job. But I can fucking handle 13 children. And so when I coach Little League on the background check, this is not a joke, it said, have you gotten 5 DUIs in 7 years? That was the background check. Now I'm looking at my phone because I actually wrote these numbers. I wrote the statistics down on this. That is a DUI every 16.8 months. That is a DUI every 511 days. That is a DUI every 12,264 hours over the course of 7 years. And that is a DUI every 35,000 miles in a minivan. Anyway. But in no bullshit, it said, have you gotten 5 DUIs in 7 years? And then it said, if yes, explain why. I like to drink, I'm bad at driving, I'd like to be responsible for 11 to 14 children. That's the only, any answer besides that is bullshit. So, I coach Little League, and one of my favorite movies ever is a movie called The Sandlot. You guys ever seen The Sandlot? It's my favorite movie. I even have the dog. I have my English master was bigger than that dog, or he was before he got old. But when Louis was at his peak, Louis was bigger than that dog. I literally paused it and I was like, Louis, you bad motherfucker. Anyway, but my favorite part of that is like the most uplifting moment you'll find in any movie there is, which is the main character, Smalls, doesn't know how to catch. And he's got a dorky hat, and he's like the epitome of white dorkiness. And he looks at Benny the Jet, who is Latin sexy cool, right? And yeah, he's like 13. I'm not trying to be weird. But anyway, he's my fucking hero, okay? But he looks at him and he goes, put your glove out like this. I'm going to take care of the rest. You guys remember this scene? You guys remember this? Do you realize how fucking hard that is? I can throw a baseball and hit every one of those lights. I mean, and I'm fat and out of shape, and but I can peg a baseball. To hit a bat and a ball directly into somebody's glove is damn near impossible. And he does it. And so, first day of coaching 2 years ago, this kid comes up to me, he goes, Coach Nick, I don't know how to catch, and this is my moment. This is how I left, right, up, down, left, right. What's the code, Kruger?
Up, down, left, right, BAC.
I contra coded my way into heaven, motherfuckers. They're like, you have done way too much cocaine off girls' butts to get in here. And I'm like, Little League coach? They're like, go around back. Knock twice, the bouncer will know you. And this is my moment. And so I'm like, little man, put your glove out like this. Coach Nick's going to take care of the rest. And I swear to God, people, I hit this ball and I suck. Like, I suck at hitting it. Like with one hand, I just suck at it. My flab like goes. It's an idiotic garbage thing. It goes the wrong way. Like almost it's just bad. So anyway, but I hit this ball first try and it's fucking perfect. If this kid just doesn't be a pussy, he's gonna have the greatest moment of his life that I just did for him. I literally just fucked this girl for him and he got to take all the credit, right? He's got his glove out and it's going directly into his glove and right, it's like as close as those lights are, it's about to hit his glove and he mans up and squinches one eye open and looks at it and at the last second he moved. And the problem is he moved directly into the ball. And it hit him directly into the face. And his mom had the commissioner of the Little League directly on her email. So now I can't coach Little League for 5 years or 7 DUIs. Whichever happens last. He cried. I'm happy to be back doing comedy. I did Kruger's show, the Monday Night Comedy Show. I've done that show more than anybody. And I did the virtual show naked. I did one of them drunk and naked, where every time I did a punchline, I just flapped one of my butt cheeks. And I was 305 pounds. That was a lot of butt cheek. It was like a... And, but I'm happy to be back. 3 days before Corona happened, and this is, again, I'm a storyteller. I live a weird life. I'm meant to be a comedian or in a mental institution or rehab, whatever. But right before Corona happened, I walked into the office 3 days, and I worked in an office where like my desk was like in the corner so I could see everybody. And the owner of the company came in and he said, "Someone in this room smells like marijuana, and whoever it is needs to fix it right now." And I watched 36 out of 38 employees go. One of those 38 employees was my boss, and he went, and that's why he's the boss, right? You ever want to make it up the corporate world? I'm going to give you some advice. You could work hard, show up on time, or do cocaine with your boss and blackmail the fuck out of him. You'd be a manager in 2 weeks. I should write a book about that shit. Do cocaine with your boss, and it'd be like one chapter. Find a cocaine hookup, do it with your boss, take pictures. Written by Nick Piontek. Anyway, but they all freaked out. And it was weird because, weirdly enough, it was the one time I didn't smell like weed. And my drug dealer was in Hawaii with his kids. And I'm like, that guy never hangs out with his kids. What are the odds of this shit? You know, like, anyway. So that was weird. And then literally, right at the end of the day, my boss, LaQuanza, who's a beautiful black woman, hardworking, worked her way up from like just a normal job to being like the top boss. Beautiful, smart woman. Never liked me. She calls me into our boardroom, and the boardroom is only when you're getting fired or when you're getting hired. You never see that room. They don't let you have like lunch in it and shit. It's like got too expensive of a table to let us cretins in. But she calls me into the boardroom and she goes, "You're getting written up." And I'm like one of the top producers of this company. I'm like, "Yeah, right." She goes, "No, you're seriously getting written up." And she hands me a piece of paper, and it says, "Nick has been heard saying racially insensitive comments." And then further along on the paper, it said, "Several employees have complained that Nick said white people smell like mayonnaise." I'm gonna do a fireball because you guys need to dwell on that. I almost lost a job where I was one of the best employees they had, statistically speaking, because I was racist against white people. Do you know how the fuck would I have gotten a new job? Like, I would just hope that the 5 bosses at the new job are all black and have a sense of humor. They're like, "Oh, we see you worked with this old company. I was the top producer. Why'd you get fired?" "Oh, white people smell like Subway tuna sandwiches." And that wasn't even the point. I wasn't trying to belittle the Caucasian race. What I was doing was I was explaining to my neighbor, as a comedian at that time who'd done comedy for 7 years and was raised by two black stepdads. Different times. It wasn't like a Utah thing. One died and the other one replaced him. But anyway, I know how to rip on people. And if you want to burn somebody, if you want to make fun of them, you don't just say they smell like shit. You say they smell like something that they have to think about for the next 6 hours. That's how you get them. You ruin some sleep and some mornings. And I'm fucking good at it. I'm the best at it. I can ruin your nightmares by saying you smell like a random object in my kitchen. You'd be like, what the fuck does Lysol smell like? But the best part of that joke is I do it around a bunch of white people, and I promise you that they all do it they're all very like, oh, it's funny. But I guarantee you, out of everybody in this room, at least 70% of you in the next 2 days are gonna go, what does mayonnaise even smell like? That's a good goddamn burn. That's a professional coming at you. I had a sniper rifle from 100 miles away. Best part of that, LaQuanta never liked me. And then as soon as she wrote me up and I signed those papers, she followed me on Instagram 2 hours later. She did. She's like, let me know when your next show is. She did. I'm getting down there. You guys are having fun. We're gonna just have some fun. Is that cool? We're gonna have some fun. You're having fun? Cool. One of my newer jokes that Kruger saw me work out. One of the other things that pissed me off about Corona, I don't know if you guys watched a lot of TV. Well, obviously. When I didn't wear a mask. I mean, I was really responsible with the mask. But when Corona happened, I wore a black do-rag to the liquor store. That was the only place I went. And everything else delivered. Because free money, right? Motherfucking DoorDash 3 times. They were like running. And I did weird things. Like I'd like literally stare at the DoorDash people in my robe. Like from just the... I do like the creepy thing. And like and I have like a Star Wars Jedi robe, which is weird. And just me in my underwear, like, did that Popeyes get delivered at 11:30? I have no hope for the world anymore. But I went to the liquor store. I went to the liquor store every 2 days and got a jug of Tito's. And it got to the point where they recognized me and ID'd me by my eyes. And they were like, oh, Baggy Eyes is coming in. He needs a jug of Tito's. That's how I dealt with Corona. But one of the things that was just bananas to me is, you know, they make TV like a year behind or even more. But for some reason, right when Corona happened, they flooded us with reality shows that were like Sexy Dude Island. And one day I'm going to be a good enough comedian to just name off like 20 of these shows. And I don't give a fuck. I don't want that in my brain at all. Like, I don't want the names of these shows in my brain, and I've been stubborn about it. But it was like, do you guys know what I'm talking about? There was like hot ab, Alex Rodriguez, mixed race, beautiful woman with big titties, and another dude who works out all the time and has no personality. And they're gonna try to fuck each other for money. And like, but it was like this island, this fucking peninsula, this K. It was like every body of water with every piece of shit ever. And they even brought back Jersey Shore for some weird goddamn reason. Like, we needed that. Like, someone hit a red alert button and Snooki was like, "Rrr." I'm back. But this is the show I want to make. This is my $1 million idea. This is my $1 billion idea. This is how I save the world. This is me being a good person. I want to produce a show where we take 5 of the toughest black dudes that are Americans, and we let like BET run a contest. You know, there'll be like dancing and fun shit going on. Be a good time. And they nominate 5 of their champions, like Game of Thrones, like their champions. And then we go down south where they have high infertility rate, low education, and guns. And we get 5 of the toughest white boy, my daddy taught me gun, Trump, Pence, 2020 flag, those guys, and which I love because they lost. And I think that's, and Mike Pence is literally testifying against them. Like, that flag is hilarious right now. Anyway, and we get 5 of those guys, and we get 5 of the toughest black guys, we get 5 of the toughest white guys, and we put them on an island or a peninsula or a cay or whatever they're renting out to Jersey Shore. And we put them on an island together. And did you hear all your buttholes get weird just now? I love that joke because I can hear the room just go. Are we gonna cancel this guy? Like, I can hear it like go. I can hear buttholes clinch when I tell this joke. And we put them on an island together. We get 5 of the toughest white guys, we get 5 of the toughest black guys. We put them on an island together as a team. And they legally hunt the 5 richest people on the planet. Until all of your children have health care and education. Forever. We kill 5 people and that happens. We just take their shit. Americans don't know how to take somebody else's shit. It's like our best quality. The natives will just be in the background, like coaching, like, this is how you did it before. Anyway, you know what I mean? And then, and the name of the show will be called Reverse Trickle Down Economics Island. Or Peninsula, or Cay, or whatever the fuck. Who cares about the body of water? It could be a desert. That'd be funny. How funny would it be to watch Jeff Bezos run for his life? I mean, I think he'd do it super dorky and weird, like he's trying to poop. Like, he'd be like, and just some tough black dude named Tyrone and some white dude named like Billy Joe, Larry. They always have like 5 names. Anyway, and they're like, Omega Team. And just Jeff Bezos is like, I'm so sorry. That'd be a great thing. I do it. All right, well, I'm out of time, but how about I do one more? You guys cool with that? Yeah. All right. Well, since it's only the team here, I can do my most heartfelt joke that'll probably make me tear up a little bit. Or I could do a joke about me doing a bunch of mushrooms and going to see the movie Avatar. It doesn't hurt my feelings because actually the other joke will take more out of me. Would you like to hear me tell a joke about me doing way too many mushrooms and sit next to a child during Avatar? Clap your hands. Okay. Would you like me to tell you the story of the time I adopted a pit bull? And all right, there you go. All right. This one breaks my heart, and I don't do it a lot, and I only do it in special occasions. And you guys, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for letting me be a part of this. I actually did this, the 50 hour. I did the 50-hour thing. I was up at like 2 in the morning. I'd been doing comedy for 3 hours, for like 3 months. And Jen Young, right? And was like, you want to fucking do comedy? And I was like, hell yeah. And she's like, you got the 2 a.m. slot. I was like, all right, well, fuck it. But I rescued a pit bull named Aries, and I didn't rescue him from like a fire or some shit, just nobody else wanted him. It gets worse. If you guys are already doing the get some goddamn tissues. Anyway, Aries was a bait dog. Aries was a dog that somebody used for fighting, where they would use him as the bitch and like fucking fight him. And he got rescued like 8 times from like a kill shelter. And Aries was a bad motherfucker. Aries literally bit my entire arm when Corona happened because him and the other dogs got into a fight, and he ripped my arm up. And I went, when Corona, when they weren't letting anybody in, and I spent 3 days in the hospital, and he didn't mean to bite me. He just is crazy. And you know what? Not to sidetrack, but I love crazy. I love weird. That's why I did this show. I love the creative. I love the weird. I love the people fighting. I love the people not normal. I don't want you to tell me the same shit. I want to meet a new fucking person. Otherwise, I'm going to make you an acquaintance. Do you understand what the fuck I'm saying? Because I'm weird. Like, you hang out with me, you're going to be like, what the fuck just happened? Okay? Aries, I brought, so to start the story off, I got Aries from my friend Laura, and Laura she used to do, she was the wife of Mike Linden, who ran Galactic Pizza. and they were both good friends of mine, and they had this dog, and he was so sad, and he had like these, he was so skinny, and I'm like, we're so fat in my house. Like, my dog is fat, I'm fat. Like, that dog could be so fat in my house. And I was like, but 2 dogs is a lot of dogs. If you go from 1 dog to 2 dogs, it's a whole different deal. I'm a comedian, and so borrowing out 1 dog is easy. Borrowing out 2 dogs, and one of them might fucking kill everybody, that's a little bit more difficult. And so, but he passed every test, and him and my Mastiff got along, and he was just the sweetest dog. Like, the first time I met Aries, he was like, bring me the fuck home. And I love animals, and I wish, like, I could fucking save all of them. Humans, totally different story. If you guys ever saw the movie The Good Son, at the end, spoiler alert, Macaulay Culkin and Elijah Wood are like hanging over the thing, and fucking the mom has to make the decision over Macaulay Culkin, who's her son. Spoiler alert, this movie was like 1995, figure it out. And then Elijah Wood, who's the good son, and they're both hanging over a cliff that I believe they filmed in Duluth, and she has to drop her son. I would do that to all of fucking humanity for dogs. There'd just be me and dogs and me jerking off on trees. It would be the thing. But anyway, so I brought Aries, so that I go to get Aries the first time. I put him in the car. This dog is like, holy fuck, I'm in a car and I'm not in a kennel. This is unbelievable. Like, this dog is looking at me like, oh. And the thing you need to know about Aries is he had 2 sort of lazy eyes that were both like 20% lazy, so it looked like there was always a ninja right over your shoulder, and he was panicking. He was like, dude, look over your shoulder. I'm just happy. I'm sorry. That's the way I look. But I put him in the car, and he's happy, and she goes, Nick, I need to tell you something about this dog. He's already in the fucking car. He signed the papers. This is a done deal. And she goes, we thought he was deaf for 6 months, and he's not. Good luck with your new dog. If you didn't laugh at that, you didn't figure it out. This dog's a giant asshole. I could throw a treat on that fucking light, and Aries would come barreling in. But if I went Aries, 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 nothing. Not a tail wag, not an ear. Like, he fakes being deaf better than anybody, okay? And I was like, well, thank you for that. It's just a fucking pit bull who doesn't listen, and he's now in the back of my car. That's like if I went to Target and I bought a really nice duvet, like maybe, I don't know, not spitting out numbers, but the $350 adoption fee I just paid for him. And then the lady ran out and went, holy shit, I forgot to tell you that duvet might kill you. Good luck with your new duvet. That duvet is awesome. And I brought him, the first thing I did is I brought him to the pet store, and what I do with my other dog is anything he grabs I buy, because I piss money away and I have nothing. Anyway, but that's what I do with my dogs, is if they grab something they look like they want it, I buy it. And I brought him, and he was like, motherfucker, are you kidding me? Like, he just kept looking at me like, fuck, really? And everywhere I brought him, and then I brought him home, and him and Louie got along, and I took him for a walk, and I remember I was like, man, I need to return this dog. This is a lot of responsibility for somebody who works as much as I do. And Aries, and I was like, I don't love him. And yeah, I'd been around him for an hour and a half. So, but I was like, normally it doesn't take this long for me to love a dog. You know, normally it's like 4 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, anyway. And Aries, I took him for a walk, and he walked up to a fire hydrant. And what I just tell you guys, I love creative, original fucking people. I don't like copycats. I don't like coloring books. You understand what I'm saying? And he walked up to a fire hydrant, and I remember thinking, I was like, if he pisses on that fire hydrant like some sort of fucking cliche hack comedian, I'm gonna get rid of him. And he walked up to me, looked at me with both of his lazy eyes, I think. And he literally backed his ass up and shit down the side of the fire hydrant. And it stuck there, like an entire turd, stuck on the side of the fire hydrant. And so many comedian thoughts came through my mind. I was like, how funny is it gonna be to be the dude who comes out of that and just sees like a giant fucking turd, completely lateral, on that fucking side of that fire hydrant. And I looked at Aries, I was like, where the fuck have you been my whole life? You're my soulmate. Because if I drink more Fireball and alcohol, guys, and you want to hang out later, and you go, Nick, you cannot make a shit laterally go on a fire hydrant, I'll be like, I bet you I can. That's the kind of person I am. I'm like, I'll shit on a fire hydrant. That's me. And Aries was my soulmate at that moment. So I'm sorry, I'm going to wrap this up. And I hope you guys are having fun. I'm going to try and do this the way I do it. But I brought him home, and Laura, who fostered him, when they foster dogs, they have to put them in a kennel because people are pieces of shit and they leave their dogs in kennels, and I don't do that. I lived in North Minneapolis at the time. I was like, no, that pit bull has a job. And that's to protect my fucking car or anybody coming in my house before I protect my car and my house. And I brought him home, and Laura called me, and she goes, where's he going to sleep tonight? And I went, man, I got a king-size bed. I got 3 couches. He can sleep wherever he wants. Dogs, they protect, but they get whatever they want. And she started crying. She literally started crying. She goes, I don't think in this dog's entire life he's ever slept in a bed. She goes, he's slept in concrete floors, makeshift beds in the fucking shelter, and we have to train him to be, and like they gave him like pillows and shit, but he never slept in a real fucking bed. And I remember tearing up, and Aries came at me that night, and he looked at me, and my bed was kind of high. He looked at me, and I was like, come on up, buddy. He was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, come on up, buddy. And he put his paw up, and then he put this leg up. And then he didn't know what to do. So now this dog's dick is just on the side of my fucking bed. He's just, his dick and balls are just on the side of my bed. And I'm like, ugh, don't grab that part of the sheets. That's gross. And I pulled him up, and this is a real story. I pulled him up by his scruff, and he slept. He's a big pit bull. He was like 80, 90 pounds. And he slept in like a little bun like this big that night. And I swear to fucking God, this is where I cry. His tail wagged all fucking night. Like his little tail just went thump, 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 thump. And I have like 85 pillows because I like to have sex with women. And they steal all your goddamn pillows. And your good hoodies and your heart, okay? So I have a shitload of pillows because I'm not new to this game. She steals 10 of them. I still got 14 of them just sitting in the cutty. All right, and so I gave him pillows, and he's like cuddling with pillows, and his little tail wagged all night. And it fucking broke my heart, and I remember I was like, man, I love this dog. Like, this is the fighter in me. You know, my other dog, Louis, is the lover. He's the charmer. He's the comedian. Aries is the fucking fighter where when you give me anything in this world, when the people I love the most screw me, when truly crazy, truly suicide, truly fucking empty, I still have comedy, I still have my dogs, I still have fucking, I still survive. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? You understand? All right, I'm not trying to be like, ugh. But anyway, I pulled him up. So he slept there, wagged his tail. Right when Corona ended, I woke up, I'd gotten laid since, I don't know, the first time in 2 years. My hand was like, let's do this. Anyway, and I woke up to her on top of me in a king-size bed, and Aries was laying sideways the whole width of the bed with his teeth out, like going, "Argh." Dick pointed at our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. His penis pointed right at the top. I didn't even mean to move him. I went, Aries, you just got to move a little bit, buddy. We need to sleep. He went, "Rrrr." This dog went from a legal immigrant to build the wall in 3 years. Do you guys want me to close on that? I can close on that. Do you want me to do one more? You want me to do a quick one? Do you want me to go? You want me to go? You want me to do a quick one? All right. I'll find a quick one real quick. All right. That's my heart, though, man. And just FYI, Aries died like 6 months ago, and it breaks my goddamn heart. That's why it's hard for me to tell that story. Because he randomly had like a tumor in his fucking 10-pack fucking pit bull. I'm fat, and he had a random tumor in his tummy. And they're like, well, you could have gotten, what's the thing they do to pregnant women? An ultrasound? Sorry, I do foreheads or abortions. That's my deal. I'm sorry, that might have been too much. I do foreheads, mostly. Foreheads don't get pregnant, FYI. Hair gets sticky, the rest of it just is whatever. All right, so I'm gonna do this one real quick, if you're cool with it. I moved from North Minneapolis, and I'm gonna do this really, really fast. I moved from North Minneapolis, and people are always like, did you move from the crime? And I'm like, nah, I'm a big dude, I had crazy dogs and guns. I'm crazy. And they were like, did you move because of the police? And I actually got beat up by the police 3 different times. Real shit. I literally sued the Minneapolis police 3 different times. They love to beat me up. Because my last name is Piontek. My dad was in prison my whole life. And my dad's name is Piontek, and I have his last name. And the internal affairs captain for the Minneapolis Police Department for 15 years was named Susan Piontek, who is actually one of my aunts, but I've never met her. But that means that the Minneapolis police beat the shit out of me 3 fucking times. I don't remember how I was going to that. Oh, I'm going to end it quick. What the fuck? No. It was, raccoons. So everybody asks why I moved. Isn't that weird? I came out of left field with that shit. Spoiler alert. So I wanted to move from North Minneapolis, and people are just like, why did you move? And I was like, well, none of those things. I came home from work one day, and there was a giant hood raccoon sitting on top of my doorway, hissing at me. I don't know if you've ever vacationed in North Minneapolis or been there, but hood raccoons are way different. They're like bigger. They've been like doing like prison push-ups, and they have like blunts and like fucking like razor blades, and they weave and shit. They're fucking crazy. And this raccoon was just hissing at me. So what I did is, do you live in Minneapolis? Anybody? If you live in Minneapolis, clap your hands. If you know what 311 is, clap your hands. Okay. So you call 311 if you're watching video. If you don't want to call 911 and have an Australian lady or any black person you know get murdered by the police. So you call 311 and go, oh, is my trash? Oh, please don't send the police and murder somebody. I called 311, and this is the honest response. I called her and I went, there's a raccoon on my roof. And I could hear her go, she's like typing, like on wildlife. You know, like I can hear this girl who's not been trained for this situation. And remind you, I'm a comedian. So being on the fucking phone with me when you're the customer service agent is going to be a ride, okay? Okay? You're having a training call moment with me. Even if I'm being nice, I'm having fun. Because I know you can only go so far, and I did it forever. And she goes, well, is it being aggressive? And I was like, hold on, can you hold on 1 second? I'm gonna watch YouTube videos about raccoon behavior. And then I made the sound. I made the same keyboard sound, but I did it verbally where she knew I was doing it. And then every time I hit an enter, I went, enter. I went, enter, YouTube. And I went, and she goes, if it's not being, this is a real story. She goes, if it's not being aggressive, there's nothing we can do about the wildlife. And I was like, do you know how much fucking taxes I pay over and over and over again in this fucking town where I get weed and like, I mean, it's a great town. Anyway, and she goes, there's nothing we can do. We can't kick it out. And she goes, and I'm really sorry to tell you this. I don't really want to say it. She like curbed around this as much as she possibly could. She goes, and you're supposed to leave it water. Should I have stopped at the last joke, or are you guys still listening? I just got an abusive North Minneapolis boyfriend I'm responsible for. That's a fucking raccoon. This thing's like just living there now, and I'm responsible for it. She goes, you're supposed to leave it water. So what I did is I went onto Amazon, even though I hate Jeff Bezos, but those prices, man, you know? Anyway, and what I did is I I bought a live trap, and I put it on my roof, and I put some old tuna up on the roof, and I caught that raccoon. He was all pissed off, and I was like, eh. And then I could have climbed up my ladder, which has a 250-pound weight limit. But instead what I did is I sent my nephew, who is on his mom's health insurance. And he doesn't know what the word deductible means. That's a good goddamn joke. And it's a real story. I was like, go up there, Gavin, I bet you can't do it. And he's like, I bet I can. I was like, ooh. And he put that fucking live raccoon in the back of my 2017 Chevy Malibu. Put it in the back. And I went to the Hennepin County Government Center. And I paid for parking in the Hennepin County Government Center, which is about $13 for an hour. And I went halfway up where it said judges, reserved for judges and clerks and politicians. And then I opened the door up and I fucking let that raccoon out. Then I called 311. I was like, hey, my name's Nick. I was just in your parking ramp, paid a little bit too much money to go to court. Done it before. And you have a raccoon in your parking ramp. Put me on hold and assess whether it's being aggressive right now. And per your instructions, you have to leave it water. That's a gross misdemeanor in Hennepin County, and I just admitted it on camera. You can clap for that shit. And I really did that. I was featuring at the New Hope Cinema, and it was the new story I'd been doing, and I was trying to work out the rhythms of it, so I did it up front where I can make up lost time if it doesn't work out. And this girl that was right where you are was pissed. The number one thing you shouldn't do at a comedy show is cross your arms and look angry and be a white woman angry and cross-armed. Because there's a blog written, there's gonna be like 10 blogs, I can see it coming. And she was pissed from that first joke. And those people are always the first person to meet you. It's not the horny women, it's not the fucking Applebee's waitresses who are lonely. It's not everybody who loved you. It's the pissed off one who's first in line when you're out the door. And she goes, I didn't find that joke very funny. And I was like, well, why not? And she goes, I work at the Hennepin County Government Center. And we got an email about that. I fucked the whole Hennepin County Government Center up with a raccoon because they couldn't answer me a straight fucking question. Best part of this, I'm 39 years old. I lived in North Minneapolis forever. It's not the first time that number one, I'm a comedian. Number two, it's not the first time I've been accused of a crime I obviously committed. Not the first time. So I looked at her dead in her eyes, straight in her eyes, and I went, there's no way to know that was my raccoon. Thank you guys. Thank you for letting me run a little bit of time. I wanted to close it out. Did I close it out for you? I did a little bit more time. Thank you guys for letting me tell those stories. Thank you for letting me tell the Trey Parker story. Thank you for supporting art. Thank you for having me keep supporting each other, supporting the weird, supporting the indifferent. I love you guys. If you got a weird story to tell, come meet me after the story or after the show. My name's Nick Piontek. I love you guys. Thank you.
Keep it going for Nick Piontek. I got it.